Two men walked through the ancient world. Neither wrote a book. Neither one left behind their own personal writings. Both gathered followers. Both challenged the beliefs of their society. Both were executed by the government. And both changed the course of human history. One became the foundation of Western religion. The other became the foundation of Western philosophy. But here's the question that made me want to look deeper. Why is Socrates almost universally accepted as a real historical person, while Jesus is still debated by so many people? Are the historical standards actually different? Are we viewing these two figures through different lenses? Let's place the evidence side by side, examine the historical record, and let the evidence speak for itself. Before we compare the evidence, we need to understand something important. How do historians actually decide whether someone from the ancient world actually existed? Ancient history is not proven the same way we prove modern events. We cannot go back in time and record what happened. Instead, historians examine evidence. They ask several questions. How close was the source written to the actual event? How many independent sources mention the person? Do different sources agree on the basic facts? Are there sources from supporters, critics, or even outside observers? And does the information fit what we know about the historical period? These standards are applied to everyone: kings, philosophers, generals, and religious figures. Now let's apply these same questions to someone almost everyone accepts existed: Socrates. Socrates is one of the most influential thinkers in human history. His ideas shape philosophy, education, ethics, and the way people search for truth. But there is something important to understand. Socrates never wrote a book. Everything we know about him comes through other people. The most famous source is Plato. Plato was a student of Socrates and wrote dialogues where Socrates appears as the main character. These writings provide much of what we know about Socrates' philosophy and teaching. Another important source is Xenophon. Xenophon was also connected to Socrates and wrote his own account. His version of Socrates differs from Plato's, but historians consider those differences useful because they represent another tradition. A third source is Aristophanes. Unlike Plato and Xenophon, Aristophanes was not a follower of Socrates. He actually mocked Socrates in his comedy called The Clouds. But this criticism is historically valuable because it shows Socrates was known as a public figure during his lifetime. So here's where the comparison becomes interesting. Socrates is accepted even though he never wrote anything himself, and we know him through the writings of others. Sound familiar? Now let's apply that same historical standard to Jesus. Like Socrates, Jesus never wrote a book. Everything we know comes through sources written by other people. So the same question applies. What evidence exists? The earliest Christian writings are the letters written by Paul. These letters were written approximately 15 to 25 years after the death of Jesus, which is a short window. Paul also interacted with some of Jesus' earliest followers, including Peter and James. And then you have the four Gospels: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Preserved traditions about Jesus' life, teachings, death, and the beliefs of his followers. Historians debate details about how they were written, but they are among the earliest sources about Jesus. Jesus is also mentioned outside of Christian writings. The Jewish historian Josephus mentions Jesus and James, the brother of Jesus. The Roman historian Tacitus mentions Christians and states that Christ was executed under Pontius Pilate during the reign of Emperor Tiberius. These sources are important because they come from outside the Christian movement. When historians examine Jesus historically, the conversation is often very different from the one surrounding Socrates. For many people, the first question isn't, what do historical sources say? It's, did Jesus even exist? That is exactly why this comparison matters. The purpose isn't to tell you what to believe about Jesus. The purpose is to ask whether we're applying the same historical standards to Jesus that we readily apply to Socrates and other historical figures. Only after that question is answered can we have an honest discussion about who Jesus was and what his life and claims actually mean.
Thank you for spending some time with Thinking Outside the Box.